We are now going to learn the case of Rav Huna and the Avankari. Rav Huna says to the Avankari, who are the Avankari? So we learned, Rashi explains that these are merchants, they're peddlers, they're people who would buy some merchandise from wholesalers and people that originally owned them, and then they would offer them for resale to the general public. We also learned Rabbeinu Hananel, who says they were like the butlers, they were like those that were kind of running the homes of the wealthy and the noblemen. Anyways, Rav Huna says to the Avankari, when buying hadassim from non-Jews, don't cut them yourself. Let the non-Jew cut the hadassim from the ground, and then take them home. Take them. Why? So he explains. The Gemara explains. Number one, stam akum gazlani arataninu. We're concerned that the non-Jews have stolen the land that they're selling you the hadassim from. And there's a rule that technically, halachically, karka einan exelis. We do not consider land to be stolen. We learned this out of psukim, as we learned from klal, pratu klal, that land cannot be stolen, which means that yush can only begin when the hadassim, or when anything, is cut from the ground. Because as long as it's connected to the ground, it's karka. And when we say karka in an exelis, we mean that the owner cannot relinquish his ownership, because it's not gone. He cannot give up. He cannot be meyayish. He cannot give up hope of retrieving it when halachically it never left his hands. Therefore, what we accomplish is, Rav Huna says, let the non-Jew cut it. Now it's no longer part of the ground, so now it's considered stolen. So now Yiyush can take effect. So the Yiyush happens in the hands of the non-Jew, and then when the Avankri take it, there is also Shinei Rishus. So we have Yiyush in the hands of the non-Jew, and then Shinei Rishus when it comes to the hands of the Avankri. Now, why do we need Yiyush and Shinei Rishus? So Rashi explains two possible explanations. First, Rashi says, Rav Huna holds that Yiyush itself is not enough, and therefore we need something else. So we need Shinei Rishus. So he was telling the Avankri that if you're going to cut it, you only have Yiyush, and that's not good enough. You need Yiyush and Shinei Rishus, so let them cut it so they have the Yiyush, and then when they give it to you, there is Shinei Rishus. Second interpretation Rashi gives, explanation, that maybe Rav Huna holds Yiyush itself is enough. Still, the Avankri shouldn't cut it, because we still need Shinei Rishus. As otherwise, it's a mitzvah haba ba'aveira, that if you're going to be the one to cut it, you're the ganav. And if you're the ganav, you can't use it. So therefore, says Rav Huna, let them do it. So they're the ganavim. And when they give it to you, they're Shinei Rishus, which removes the problem of mitzvah haba ba'aveira, because you're not the ganav. Now we have to understand Rashi. Rashi in the bottom of Daf Lamed Amud Aleph says that we're afraid that the Goyim had stolen the land from a Yid. The question is, why does Rashi say a Yid? Mi Yisrael, it was stolen from a Yid. Gezel Akum, something that's stolen from a non-Jew, is also usher to use. You're not allowed to just benefit from steal. You're not allowed to steal from a non-Jew. So why is it that Rashi says that we're concerned they stole it from a Yid dafke? So there are three answers. Answer number one, said by the Rashba, quoted in the Magen Avram, that Rashi was not meduyik. Rashi was lav dafki. Didn't mean mamish from a Yisrael. Whatever the reason doesn't explain. Rashi said Yisrael, but Rashi in fact meant that it could have been stolen from anyone. Answer number two, the Kapis Tmarim. Kapis Tmarim writes, because the din here of Rav Huna is tied to the fact that karka einon exelis, and therefore we need someone to cut it to start the Yiyush process. Karka einon exelis is learned from psukim. Rashi holds that the psukim, again this is according to the Kapis Tmarim, that Rashi holds that the psukim that we learn, karka einon exelis, those psukim only apply to Yidden. In other words, karka of a non-Jew is nigzelis. And if so, if karka of a non-Jew is nigzelis, then we don't need the non-Jew to cut it, to start the Yiyush process. The Yiyush process started already once it was stolen. We don't need it to be removed from the ground, even as karka Yiyush works. And therefore, we don't need Rav Huna's instruction. That's why Rashi says, Dafke mi Yisrael. Finally, a third answer we have from the Rav Huna BiYodeiachu, that even though Gezel Akum is Osir, he says that according to Rashi, it would not be considered a mitzvah haba ba'aveira to use it. So you're not allowed in general steal from a goy, but it wouldn't be considered a mitzvah haba ba'aveira if you use it. And because Rashi, in one explanation, says that this is the concern, that the concern of Rav Huna is in regards to mitzvah haba ba'aveira, that's why Rashi says it was mi Yisrael when it's from a yid, and from a yid that would be a problem of mitzvah haba ba'aveira.